watch this presentation. I hope it will be helpful for you. I'll talk about how to use the thinking process as a guide to orient the application of several tools, the main tools, Lean, Six Sigma, process management, and the specific TOC solutions. Okay, that pretty much summarizes my experience with these methodologies in the last 12 years, applying those in different businesses as a consultant. Okay, starting with this famous quote by Bernard Baruch: "If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail." And for some people, the name of the hammer is Six Sigma, for others is Lean, for others is TOC. And I'm pretty much convinced that to obtain maximum results, given the constraints we have, we need to integrate the contributions, not ignore the contributions. That's, if we try to apply just one tool to reality, it's like forcing our knowledge into reality, and we should do the reverse. We should use reality as a source to improve, and you can, I think nobody can ignore the contribution that, the contribution that Lean, Six Sigma, process management, and TOC have made to the world, to the companies, to the businesses. Okay, and in my opinion, these are the four main improvement methodologies for business. Okay, they all start from a system-wide perspective, or should, although there are some misapplications. They all bring a philosophy or paradigm shift that's relevant for business, and each one brings a specific contribution for businesses that is important, okay? Provided it's correctly understood and implemented. Okay, I'll go a little bit fast because I want to leave some space for questions, for interaction, okay? I think it's very important. But here, the reason why those four methodologies are so important, if you separate this phrase that summarizes the goal, the contribution, unique contribution of each methodology, there's a part here which is the strategy, the key strategy of TOC is to increase organizational prosperity. And this by the second part here is the tactics. The key tactics to do that. So the key tactics of TOC is to focus on the system's constraint. And by doing that, we increase organizational prosperity. But you see the contributions of the other methods too. The goal of Lean, as summarized by the own Taiichi Ohno, is to reduce time to cash. That's a strategy. The tactics: eliminate the waste in the process flow. Take out what is not contributing to that, what's taking that time longer. Okay. Six Sigma, the strategy is to increase customer satisfaction, to put the customer in the center of the attention. And the strategy is to reduce variability. That impacts directly the quality perception and satisfaction of the customer. And this little commented, but equally important, is what I call business management through processes. Is to have the whole company standardized by the integrated flow of all the processes in the business. And the strategy here is to increase all stakeholder satisfaction, have everybody that interacts with the company satisfied. And the tactics for that is to focus on this integrated standardization of the business flow. So I think those are important contributions for a company, for any type of business. But those these methodologies also have a limitation. And this is my viewpoint, of course. No offense intended. But in my experience observing reality, I see many times TOC tends to be top management oriented only. It lacks this aspect of involving the workforce, involving everybody, involving the operational base of the company, like the other methods do. It takes process variation as a given. Of course, it has countermeasures to that, but it does not have, I think, tools to go deep into understanding and reducing variability. It takes as a given. You have to protect against variability, and that's it. Also, because the initial goal was defined as making more money now and in the future, that still leaves a money-focused aspect, and that still in these days causes a lack of attention on this philosophical aspect of the business, the values, the culture, the soft aspects. Okay. Lean tends to be internally focused on the company's value streams. That's the starting point, and there's a tendency to stay watching and improving the value streams, just like we saw in the same room. The former presentation emphasized that. And sometimes the restriction is in the market, and people are polishing the internal processes. Six Sigma tends to be too statistics-oriented. If you see the training content of most Six Sigma programs, you see about 80% statistical tools. And because of cost mentality, many implementers of Six Sigma tend to use it as primarily as a cost reduction tool, which is wrong. Okay, and this one, although it creates this integrated process structure, it does not have the specific methods to incorporate into the process as you standardize it to improve performance. Okay, but we can see that by analyzing that, the contribution and the limitations, that pretty much each methodology complements each other. Okay, so the reason is one should be concerned about applying all those. Well, more about this you can find here. There's a link to an article which I and Arlen Barnard we wrote it some time ago. And also there is a webinar I made with TOCICO. It's available, I think, in the TOCICO website, and also you can find a link here. There's more about this synergistic interaction between the methodologies. Okay. Now, from these four methodologies, I think TOC must be the guiding methodology, the compass. And there's a reason for that, because from those four strategies and tactics, TOC is the only one that provides the focus of the FOCI. So it makes you much more focused. Oh. And within TOC, the thinking process is, I think, by far the best planning method ever invented. I'll not get into details here, but around those five key questions of a change process, TOC is the most solid tool, planning method to support the correct answers to those questions. Okay. Anyway, I think everybody's familiar with this method and supporting tools of the TOC, the logical trees. I'll go into a little bit more detail in that, but I like to save time to discussion. Okay, So, but why should the thinking process be used as the compass to orient the use of the other methodologies? Okay. First of all, because it has been designed just for that, designed as to guide a change process. Okay. It has the power to systematically identify the political constraints, the hidden wrong assumptions, okay? And does that with the rigor of the logic, which is very powerful, okay? And those 5 key questions are a reliable route to go and use for, not just for planning, but also to correct and orient and improve the implementation phase. Okay. Now, how do you do that? How do you use the thinking process? Well, this is my suggestion based on experience, learning from a lot of effort. You use the thinking process, follow a certain analytical flow of the thinking process. Depending on the time available, you can do just a one-day workshop. If the management team applying that decides to use more time, you can expand it to 3 days. Sometimes that's more than a busy manager, a group of managers can invest to the analysis. But if they have more time and really understand the impact of that, the importance of this planning session, then you can do it in 5 days. Usually, my experience is if you try to sell that right at the start with the work in a company, the management team doesn't have enough maturity to go very deep in this. And many times it's easier to start proving the value of the tool, of the thinking process in a one-day workshop. Then they get motivated and then decide to invest more time, and then the full-blown thinking process workshop. Okay, so this is the analytical flow, let's say, about the using the thinking process. And imagine here you have a supermarket of methods and tools provided by Lean, by Six Sigma, by process management, and the specific TOC solutions like critical chain, DBR, distribution, etc. Okay, so and the idea, the concept, overall concept here is, as the analysis flow by one of these options, you pull the right tool at the right moment of the analysis and decide, this is what I need to face this specific situation here. Okay, so I'll briefly go through a little bit more detail about these 3 options. Okay, this one-day current reality 3 workshop is used to identify high-impact improvement projects in a given situation where you have a prerequisite is to have a clear definition of the company purpose and necessary conditions in order to correctly identify the UDEs. But you start early in the morning with the management team, raise the UDEs, get a consensus on that. Here, the technique I recommend is to build the CRT from top down until you find a specific theme for improvement that you can go to the supermarket and and pull the right tool for the specific theme here. This is a real case where for these 2, for these 3 here in the base, it was a theme very adequate to Lean and Six Sigma, and this one could be dealt with throughput accounting. But you see that there are other things that appear that it's not none of the tools. So you can, sometimes it's a policy change or a task or some simpler action. But the importance here is to get to the end of the day with this improvement teams clearly identified, and the consensus of the team about why this is important to change radically those UDEs. I think that's a good result for a 1 day of work. Now, if you have more time, people decide to invest more time, then you can make a 3-day thinking process workshop following the traditional analysis of the workshop. I'd like just to highlight here the key moments to go to the supermarket and use the right tool. Here, when you go to the core conflict cloud, it's a good moment to see if there is a powerful injection already made in the supermarket, so that you can apply to that situation. Okay. So these are the core injections. And also, when you go to the future reality tree, to complement the logic necessary for the desirable effects, it's again time to take a look at the supermarket of tools, because many times you find the right tool here. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Okay. And then at the end of the 3rd day, you'll get to this TO map, Technical Objectives Map, which pretty much guides the application of the different injections. You get a prioritized sequence of injection and projects, and how to follow that to avoid bad multitasking. Okay, and then if more time is available, you can proceed from those three days to 2 more days to have a strategy and tactics tree. Okay, in my experience, with 2 days you can start from scratch, from 0, but with all the previous 3 days of analysis, this will flow very easily to get at least to the 3rd level of the tree. Okay, 3rd level. Okay, so in 2 more days, people will have this perfect alignment and prioritization and focus that is provided by the SNT tree. Or if you have a ready-made SNT for implementation, for viable vision as a reference, you can invest those 2 days to adapt to the organization. Okay, but I've applied this in many service organizations where there is no template for an SNT. So you have to start from scratch. Okay, and I found that 2 days is, with the previous work, you have pretty much content for those nodes here. Okay. Some do's and don'ts based on my experience. Do it as a team sport. Okay. I found that if you, right from the start, you involve the key persons, the key managers, okay, and do it as a team, you automatically build consensus, you automatically construct a buy-in, okay? So I prefer to avoid this Lone Ranger and approach. The consultant, you go interview people, and you work with, and then you try to sell the solution, to make scrutiny. If you have the team involved, it's much easier to get consensus. But don't work with too big groups. It's a very intense process. Requires a lot of the people. Requires an analytical profile of each person. and it's very intense. And it's very hard to do that with more than 20 people. I've did it with I think the record is 40 people, but it's crazy. Okay, it's not common to have a person that knows a lot about TOC and Six Sigma and Lean and process management. So you probably will need the help of different people, different consultants or experienced professionals in those methods. And of course, every change process assures strong leadership. And it's key for the implementation that the management team adopts this relay race work ethics. It's very important to at least minimize bad multitasking. Okay, okay, of course, this is a strong point of the TP. The logical trees themselves, especially the SNT tree, it's an excellent tool to communicate, to align people, to people that did not participate in that small group. They can understand the logic behind the actions. It's a very good tool. And this is also key. Check and act frequently. The reality changes. Priorities might change. So you need to adapt that to reality. Okay, that's my message here. But I'd like to get your questions, comments, protests. So let's discuss. Any question?
Hi, good morning. One of the points that caught my attention was the Lone Ranger. Would you relate an experience that you have that you know that you're looking at the group is going to trying to have solutions that are not going to solve it? But that's the group, they don't see the solution that is going to radically change reality. They are trying old stuff, or they're trying stuff that is in their knowledge. Uh-huh. They don't see the power of a new solution. Mm-hmm. If you can relate an experience like that on how to move, because you need to maintain the buy-in of the group that is their solution, because they need to go ahead and implement it. Yeah. But at the same time, they need to have a powerful solution, otherwise they're going to remain in their same reality. So if you can comment on something interesting on that.
I guess the team approach solves the two concerns here. First, if you build right from the start with the team, and you get at the end of the analysis, it's a team result. It's our analysis. It's our plan. So the sense of property is natural. If you go and you come as a consultant with a bunch of solutions, you more or less adapt that by your observations of the reality. Then you go, you make all the trees, and then you come for the buy-in process. Anyhow, no matter how close that might be to reality, you have to convince people that this is the way to go. So you have to go to all the 6 phases, or the change metrics, the 4 aspects. And that is hard. That is hard to work with people that way. There is a tendency to raise a lot of my experience, at least. No, despite you follow the buy-in, you have people that want or take longer to be convinced. Yeah. By doing this, I found that it flows so naturally. Once you have the common vision and the consensus, it flows much more easily, the implementation. Okay. I don't know if I answered. Okay.
It wasn't actually an answer. You just wanted to. If you have more comments on that, thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions?
So to kind of draw out that more, so if you're in the middle of doing the 3-day or a 5-day session with people, and their vision of the supermarket of available injections is very limited. So they've done lean recently, and they really like that tool. But you are now aware of, well, there's these other tools that could apply, and that maybe you as the Lone Ranger think this tool is actually, this other tool from this other supermarket is actually better, but they're not aware of it. What kind of, there's a buy-in process, but what kind of things would you do to kind of suggest that?
Yeah, what I did several times when you get to that is I do a short insight about the tool. Okay, let's say, okay, you have been using this, you are fond of lean, but let's consider this another option. Okay, and then I make a very short, typically 15-20 minutes introduction to the insights, the key insights. And I found that is many times, if people have an open mind, that is enough to raise interest, okay, and give it a chance to incorporate that into the implementation plan.
Okay. When you are starting this one-day workshop, how often it happens that the goal setting and the necessary conditions are not in the place when you close the day? So do you have to iterate it during the day? Or can you agree with the team about the goal setting and the necessary conditions to build the CRT like you did now?
Good question. My answer is we really don't know. We try to apply within that time frame all the intuition, all the knowledge of the team. And the tool itself, as a facilitator to the discussion, although the people don't necessarily know the categories of reservation, legitimate reservations, you have it very solid in your mind, and you check the logic, and that's very useful. And again, at the end of when you have the complete CRT, it's very critical to make a final reading, and you alert the people that be careful with that. So be careful if there is not a necessary condition, key necessary condition missing, or if it's just oxygen. Okay, so that's enough to start. I think compared to the chaos of reacting point to point to each UD, which is people typically do, that will be a great advance, although you might skip some critical condition.
Yeah, but then when you are defining the UDs and building the CRT, so if the goal setting is not in place, then it leads to consequences.
A good point. Okay, it's very rare that after to get to the UDs, my experience is that from the 8-10 hours in that day, you invest 2-3 hours. So it's very rare that people knowledgeable with the situation come up with irrelevant UDs. It's very rare. And another thing, you don't need to exhaust all the UDs. You just get to 5-10 key ones. So that will merge, that will converge to the core problem. Okay. I think we are out of time. Okay, thank you very much.
I have high expectations.